Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is something a bit new. I don't usually react to the Joe Rogan Experience. However, this conversation, I think, does deserve a bit of attention. Listen, Douglas Murray lost this debate in 1,000 different ways. And if you don't understand how, I think that you may be an ideologue. I think you may be ideologically captured, because there is no way that anyone who watched this could come away and honestly say that Douglas Murray did a good job, or that he came away seeming like, well, yeah, this guy is somebody that I want to watch and respect, and he's somebody that is a reliable source going forward. No, this entire showing made him look like an insufferable twat, which is ironic considering the fact that he's gay. But this entire thing was a masterclass in how not to talk and how not to behave. Because the sort of top-down appeal to authority, argumentation, oh, I have these disparaging things to say about this person, and Joe Rogan goes, well, have you actually watched this person? Well, no, I don't have to watch every bit of content of somebody to know what they're about. And he just misrepresented people, lied about people. He had to get corrected by Joe Rogan and Dave Smith multiple times. This guy looked like an absolute pompous freak. And I'm beside myself because there are so many people online going, he destroyed Joe and Dave. Oh, God. You're insane. You are insane. And I'm going to play a little bit of this. Don't worry, we're not doing a 3-hour video. This is going to be maybe a 20-minute video at most. You know, if I can't listen to this guy anymore, then so be it. But no, this guy, Douglas Murray, didn't win. Let me ask you a question. What is the determining factor of a win for a debate? What is something that most people who go into a debate are looking to do? Is it to change the mind of the other person that they're across the table from? No. No, it's to represent your argument to the best of your ability in how you react and how you present yourself, and also the argumentation. Douglas Murray failed because his entire argument was, Joe, you've had too many of this one type of people on, when you really should have more people that are pro-Israel propagandists. That's what he came right out swinging with. Well, you've had this person on, this person on, this person on, this person on, who, you know, they're very critical of Israel. But you haven't had more people that are so-called experts to talk about how great Israel is. Like, dude, you pompous freak. Do you even have a show, by the way, Douglas Murray? I don't know. I've never, ever heard of a show that you have. I've never heard of a show that you have. You're on Joe Rogan's show, and my reason for saying that is not like Donald Trump's like, your ratings is shit. I don't even know if you have ratings. My point is, you're on Joe Rogan's show lecturing him about how he should run his program and saying that he should view the show in a lens that is favorable to Israel. Or how many people on my show have been critical of Israel? And I have to have quotas. You understand? That is deranged, psychopathic, insane stuff. And by the way, to fans of Douglas Murray, his sort of bullshittery doesn't work on me. It only works on retards that are enamored with this sort of pseudo-intellectual nonsense and his British accent that make him appear to be much smarter and more sophisticated than he actually is. Because when you talk like this, you see, when you talk like this and you speak very fast with a cadence like this, you make yourself appear to be more intellectually with it than you actually are. And so that means that you can lie about people, misrepresent people, mischaracterize people, just be completely wrong on most of the things that you're saying, make bad faith arguments, make accusations. Well, comedians shouldn't be allowed to talk about this. I mean, if you were just saying that, comedians give their opinion on political topics too much, I'd say, yeah, that's probably true. But this whole argument that he has from start to finish, from top to bottom, alienated normal people. And the type of dregs, the oy vey, oh, he's so right, oh my God, Mark Levin, oh, this guy is amazing. It's like rub my hands together, like, oh God, yeah, this guy was amazing. Like the Jewish community has come out to sin for this guy, and it's not warranted because it's a lie. He didn't do well. Like, do you understand that just saying that you did well and then trying to insult other people for pointing out that he didn't do well is not actually defense? It's not actually winning people over to your side. And by the way, I don't hate the Jewish. I don't hate the Jewish community by any means. I've had friends that are Jewish my entire life. Yeah, I have a friend who's black. But no, I've known Jewish people my entire life. I don't have any animosity. I'm against Judaism. Simply because there are things within it that are, well, it's sort of like Ben Shapiro when he talks about Jesus and there's that sort of contempt. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I found that to be disgusting, to be honest. That sort of contempt for Jesus. Oh, hey guys, Jesus was just another Jew who got killed for his trouble. It's like, yeah, that irritates the shit out of me, but that's not really because he's Jewish. It's more so because if anyone said something like that, I'd be like, that's just blasphemous and gross. But it's like, this entire conversation, you've got Jewish people going, oh, you're just mad because we're Jews. No, I don't think that's it. I think that a lot of people are obnoxious and loudmouth and have this air of superiority that is unearned and undeserved and is not true. But it's indicative of why they are attracted to the presentation style of Douglas Murray. All style, no substance. The air of authority, the air of superiority. We're so much smarter without actually having to do anything to justify it or earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you get somebody like Ian Carroll or...
Yeah, but Ian Carroll, I didn't bring him on for that purpose. I brought him on because I want to find out, like, how does one get involved in the whole conspiracy theory business? Because his whole thing is just conspiracies.
Sure.
You know?
But do you have any... I mean, there's been a tilt in the conversation, in both conversations, in the last couple of years. And it's largely to do with people who have appointed themselves experts who are not experts.
You mean like Ian? I don't think he appoints himself an expert in anything.
Who's that other dude who thinks he's an expert on Churchill?
Oh, Daryl Cooper does not think he's an expert.
In fact, I think it's everybody else is always calling him an expert, and he's like, oh, I'm just a history
Have
nerd.
you ever absorbed any of his material? Have you ever consumed any of his podcasts or anything like that?
I tried.
Yeah?
I try. I try. It means no. It means this smug piece of crap is making... He's making declarations and making things up based on information that's not true, a presupposition.
It's pretty hard to listen to somebody who says, I don't know what I'm talking about, but now I'm going to talk. Or I don't know about this. Or I'm not capable of debating this historian, but I'm going to just tell you what I think.
Yeah, but that's not
I think that's a
exactly
little
that's
bit
not
out of
exactly what
context.
Daryl was saying. I mean, Daryl's point of view, however you feel about this, what Daryl is saying is he doesn't really like doing debates. He likes to do long format stuff where he can really explain his
But
position.
if you throw a lot of shit out there, there's some point at which I'm just raising questions is not a valid thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not raising questions. You're not asking questions. You're telling people something.
Do you think Daryl's doing that?
I think there's a whole bunch of guys doing that.
I think
Dave is doing that, very obviously. Dave's a comedian, but he's now mainly talking about Israel.
No,
I don't know if I'm mainly talking about Israel.
That's
but
all I see you
I have
on the internet
opinions.
doing.
Yeah, but that's you
Well, that
just
might be what you've seen,
it's
but
just
I don't
you
think that's.
consuming clips.
But that is also your shtick now, isn't it?
Well, what do you mean by that's my shtick?
Well, you're not a geopolitics guy in general, are you?
I don't even know exactly what you're asking.
I'm saying you've decided, being a comedian, you've decided now to become somebody who talks about Israel
This
and the
is not,
conflict.
I think you're incorrect. I don't think it's a decision. I just think you have long form conversations, multiple of them. It's a huge event that's in the news, so it comes up. I don't
I
think
know,
it's a
but-
thing. I think if you're on the outside, you'd say, "Oh, look, they're trying to get attention by talking about this very polarizing issue
Yeah.
publicly." That's
But
not.
you do get attention from that. If you'd spent the last year speaking about Myanmar, you would not be on my lips.
Yeah, but
or a
he
lot of other
does
people's.
talk about Yemen constantly. He talks about a lot of things that aren't in the news.
Well, I
constantly.
tend to talk about the conflicts that my government is directly involved in, which I think is reasonable to me. But I don't quite get, like, what's all the appeal to authority stuff? I mean, what you have
Well,
to
I
be
do.
an expert, or
No,
and
I think
what exactly
authority
makes
matters.
you
I
an
think
expert?
authority matters, and I think that if you just throw a lot of shit out there and then say I'm not interested in the alternative views on this, and particularly when it's a counter narrative that is wildly off, and when you get people with this, look, I just feel we should get it out straight away. I feel you've opened the door to quite a lot of people who've now got a big platform, who have been throwing out counter historical stuff of a very dangerous kind.
You mean Daryl? Are you talking about Daryl?
Daryl, who's the other one?
I don't think Daryl has.
Derek.
I don't think there's anything dangerous
what's
about
the
what
other guy? Derek. What's his name? Cooper, is it? Which one is it?
No, that's
No, that's
Daryl.
Daryl
Daryl
Cooper.
Cooper. And who's the other one? There was one I just checked on the way here. Daryl Cooper, and then Daryl Cooper, Ian Carroll. Look, these guys are not historians. They're not knowledgeable about anything.
No one's calling Ian Carroll. a
No, but
historian.
then why listen to their views on Churchill?
Daryl is
Why
incredibly
listen-
knowledgeable.
He's not.
It's just
He's not.
Yeah,
he's
he
not.
is.
He's
Why do you say
wildly. Several reasons. One is when he was offered to debate the current greatest living biographer of Churchill, he said, "I can't, because he knows much more than me, and I admire his work and I've learned from it, but I can't possibly debate him." That's Andrew Roberts.
But you don't have to be able to debate people.
So I let it play for a little bit because I didn't want anyone to mischaracterize. Oh, you're just playing a clip out of context. You're not giving him a chance to speak. You're pausing every 11 seconds, because these are the usual criticisms when you go in on something. It's like, you didn't understand. No, we all listened to that. And he got corrected a bunch of times. Did you listen to this person? Well, I tried to, but the answer is no. No, you didn't listen to it. You made a presupposition. You made a declarative statement that you didn't know. You're talking out your ass. You're making a ridiculous appeal to authority that most people in this day and age reject, because all of these so-called authorities have been, they've been relegated moot. And I think that's something that Dave Smith is going to go in on in just a second here, but it's fairly obvious. There's no legitimacy to the top-down, sort of, oh, I'm an expert. Oh, what does an expert mean? Nobody trusts the expert. Nobody should trust the expert. Do you know why somebody like Asmongold is so popular? It's because he doesn't pretend to be an expert. You, Mr. Douglas Murray, you do. You claim to be an expert. Oh, I'm an expert on other things. Well, do you talk about things you're not an expert in? Well, yes, I do. You are a smug, arrogant person that does not reflect what many Americans view as valuable when it comes to getting information. People don't want a top-down lecture series. They want somebody that they can feel is authentic. And for better or worse, that is the landscape that you're playing in. Now, if you're as smart as you pretend you are, then you'll be able to adapt to that marketplace and make content that's actually worth watching. But I don't even know if you have a show. I'm not being glib. In fact, let me look it up. If you have a show, if you do, nobody's watching it. I mean, I've never heard of you. Douglas Murray Show. Let's see. You do have a YouTube channel. You do have a YouTube channel, Douglas Murray. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's look at videos. Okay. All right, you got a YouTube channel. You've got 241,000 subscribers. Now, that's a lot more subscribers than I have. But you're definitely not in a position to be lecturing people about how they should be running their channel to be more successful, or telling them how they have to do things, because clearly, I mean, I've heard of Douglas Murray before, but the fact of the matter is that he's talking to one of the most successful podcasters on the planet and saying, this is how you should run your show. Like, that's a level of arrogance. Oh, I've noticed that your quota for people that support, my point of view has been lacking, but you brought all these other people on. And Joe's like, I don't see things that way. Yes, but you don't understand. It's like the number of people that you brought on are not equally proportionate. It's like he wants to talk to people. The people he wants to talk to happen to have this opinion. It's like he is making his argument look absolutely terrible.
Well, to have opinions.
No.
on
You
things.
don't have to debate people.
If
But
it's not your thing.
But if you, for instance, but if you say, I've decided that Churchill is the bad guy in
That's not
World
what he
War
said.
II.
That's not what he said.
And it's like, so I'm not going to watch this whole thing. But I think that it's critically important that you understand that these smug retards. Oh, he's got a high IQ. No, this guy's an idiot. This guy's somebody who presented it like, if this guy were as intelligent as everyone appears to think he is, he would have used this as an opportunity to bring people into his sort of side and his sort of content. He alienated me from the first, and I wasn't somebody that had a strong opinion about Douglas Murray. But his sort of top-down, appeal to authority, you have to have a degree, these people that have opinions, good golly. It's like, dude, you reek of smug bureaucrat energy. That's what you reek of. Smug bureaucrat energy. Like, the polls are at it again. It's like people are allowed to have a goddamn opinion, whether you Brits like it or not. There's a reason why we kick the ever-living shit out of you to start our own country and get away from you. Because your ideas are inferior to ours. There's a reason why you're arresting people for... we're arresting people for offense crimes. Somebody posted something on Twitter, and we were very offended. Very offended. Very uncouth. Very impolite. Yeah, hey, Douglas Murray, what about the acid attacks and the stabbings from the Muslim community? What about the rape? Well, we could talk about that, but it's like Britain is more than comfortable to come and tell the world how to run itself, how Joe Rogan should run his channel, what they should be talking about, but they don't have a word to say about the fact that their country is a fallen country. The UK is fallen. The UK is absolutely fallen. It's a third world country now. It's abysmal. It's embarrassing. It's a humiliation ritual. Like, you think about the UK and they're a conquered people. But they're going to lecture us.
It's not what he said.
Neither Carol nor Cooper have said that.
Well, listen, I don't know what Carol said, but Daryl Cooper has not said that. What he said was he jokes with his friend Jocko, who's an Anglo-Saxon. He jokes with them. You know, I think that Churchill was the secret villain of World War II. And what he's saying is by Churchill's actions the war escalated. He's not saying anything.
He's not just asking questions then, is he?
No, but
he's got a
the
point of
claim
view.
isn't that he's just asking questions. Yeah, he has a point of view.
You can explain this better. He literally says
Yes, he
he's
said
joking.
in the comment, he goes, listen, I'm being hyperbolic. And then he once again disclaimed, he goes, and I'm not claiming Churchill committed the most atrocities or was the worst part. But in many ways, I do view him as the chief villain, as my hyperbolic, provocative statement. But
What's
Douglas,
the point of that?
well, okay, but Pat Buchanan wrote an entire book on this. Is he not allowed? Is he not an expert? Is he not allowed to be
He's
interviewed?
certainly not an expert. He can be interviewed. I've watched Pat Buchanan debate. I watched Pat Buchanan debate against Churchill historians, and he was absolutely leveled because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
When did Pat Buchanan debate and get leveled?
About 20 years ago.
I'm just
He
curious. I
debated
haven't seen
against
this.
Andrew Roberts and
I don't understand genuinely how people can watch this and think that Douglas Murray is doing well. That is the biggest cope I've ever seen from people that had a bias before they even press play. This is the biggest astroturfed. This guy's just a Karen. He's literally just, and this person said something I don't like. I don't like that. And I don't like that these people can have opinions on the internet. They can talk. They don't have to go through the academic circles. Dude, you're a gay Brit. Nobody gives a shit what you think. Seriously. Oh, well, no, don't say that about Douglas Murray. He's right-wing. Get out of here. There is no such thing as a right-wing Brit. They're all leftists in their own way. You know, it's like even reform is left-wing by our standards. But no, this guy is smug, arrogant, you know, entitled. Oh, I'm the only one that people should listen to. I'm the expert. It's like, no. No. People like you, with your attitude, are on the way out. They're on the way out. They're not being listened to. They're not being respected anymore. Because you've lost all control on the narrative that, oh, only the experts. So, no. Regular people are allowed to have an opinion. Anyway. I said it was going to be about 20 minutes. I went a little long. I mean, I could go longer with this. But I don't think I will. It's just something that I wanted to touch on, that this guy lost in a humiliating fashion. Didn't convince anyone, well, least of all me. It didn't convince me at all. I've seen people coping that he won on the internet, but they're all people with like Heckenstein and, you know, and their Twitter name with, you know, the Israeli flag. So they're all people that went into it with a preconceived thing. Oh, we gotta stand behind our guy. You know, he's the guy representing us. It's like, no, he lost. He lost in a spectacular, humiliating fashion. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. See you next time.